Alright, so your environment is extremely important when it comes to whether or not you are successful in your weight loss journey. In fact, one study tracked 12,000 people for 32 years and found that a person's chance of becoming obese increased by 57% if he or she had a friend who became obese. Another study found the opposite as well. If you had a really fit friend, then 1/3 of the time you would lose weight. Also, I'm sure you've heard the saying that you are the sum of the 5 people closest around you. So your environment is very important to your success, not only in fitness, but in business, in relationships, and just a lot of areas of your life. And I learned a couple of these tips from the book Atomic Habits. This book is amazing. Make sure to check it out. I'll leave it linked down below, but a lot of these tips again come from that book. So check that out if you can. So let's get on to tip number 1. All right, so tip number 1 is to make the cues of good habits obvious and visible. For example, for somebody who smokes, a video of someone smoking can be that cue that makes them want to smoke themselves, right? And so, for example, in terms of fitness, let's say you wanted to start taking your supplements, your medication, whatever it is, you always forget to. You can always place it by your faucet or in your bathroom directly in sight so you can see it every day or every night, and you remind yourself it's visible, it's there, you take it, right? If it's stuck somewhere else, you're not going to know to take it, right? So you have to make the cues obvious and visible. An example from the book is if you want to drink more water, for example, then start placing filled up water bottles all around the house where you know you're going to be. Put one in the living room, put one in the kitchen, put one in your bedroom, put one in the bathroom. So you know, hey, I got to drink water. There's one right there for me. Super easy, super obvious, super simple to do. That's another way. So another example is if you want to stop snacking, then hide the snacks out of sight. Put them out of sight, right? And if possible, stop buying them altogether. I know this is tough for some situations and families, so if you can't do this, at the very least try suggesting or buying single servings of snacks instead of buying them in bulk. In my case, my roommate always buys snacks and treats and cookies and all these things, right? Like Oreos, Pop-Tarts, cookies, just everything, right? And it's just always on top of the fridge, and I hate that. I'm always by the fridge. I'm always cooking. I'm always getting stuff, right? And those treats are always in plain view. However, what I changed, and that I came up to an agreement with my roommate, is to put those snacks, all the goodies, right, in a cabinet where it's not in sight, right? Out of sight, out of mind. I actually did this in my own apartment. So make sure to at least, if at the very least, just hide them so you're not always trying or have the urge to try them. They're not always calling your name, right? So make sure to at least do that if you can. Okay, and so here are some examples of how this tip can be turned for bad, right? Not for good, for bad. So the opposite of making it obvious and visible is to make it not obvious and invisible, as the author of Atomic Habits says. So here's an example from the book. It's easy not to practice the guitar when it's tucked away in the closet. It's easy not to read a book when the bookshelf is in the corner of the guest room. It's easy not to take your vitamins when they are out of sight in the pantry. Okay, so all of these examples are saying like out of sight, out of mind, basically. It's not obvious. The thing that you want to do is invisible to you. It's not obvious. It's not in plain view. Put it in plain view, make it obvious. That's tip number 1. Okay, so tip number 2 is to make it easy. And so as the author of Atomic Habits says, James Clear, he says to make it easy, reduce friction, decrease the number of steps between you and your good habits. Okay, so there's something called the law of least effort that he talks about in the book. And the definition he gives is when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. Okay, so therefore, a habit that requires less energy is more likely to occur versus a habit that requires more energy, like exercising and diet, for example, will less likely occur. This is all because of the law of least effort. So for example, if you are new to weight loss, right, and you stumble across one of my videos that I recommend 10,000 steps a day for weight loss is a good habit to do, is a good goal to reach, right? For me, that might not be as hard, but for a newbie, that might be way out of just out of the range of their mind. And for that reason, you probably won't do it because the law of least effort, that's the definition of it. It requires more energy. Instead, what if I told you, okay, I just want you to walk 1,000 steps per day? Okay, that might be easier, right? The law of least effort says that you are more likely to do that versus 10,000 steps. Okay, so start off with 1,000 steps per day. Then once that gets easy, start with 2,000 steps, and then so on. Get there, gradually increase the effort. Once that habit is acquired, right, you want to start walking more. And then once you get to 5,000 steps, you can get to 10,000 steps, and so on. So here are a couple more examples, right? You're more likely to go to the gym if it's on the way to work, right? There's less friction there, as opposed to if your work was an hour away versus your gym, which is in the opposite direction, another 30 minutes away, right? You're more likely to go to the gym if it's on the way to work. Law of least effort. You're more likely to go to the gym in the first place if your gym bag and everything you need is already pre-packed the night before. Law of least effort. And so this example is mostly for me, but you're more likely to use your under desk treadmill if it's already plugged in the night before and under your desk. But for me, sometimes I leave it on the wall unplugged in, and then in the morning I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do this, but I have to plug it back in, put it under the desk. If it's already there in the morning, already plugged in, already in the way, already under my desk, I'm way more likely to walk on my treadmill, on my under desk treadmill. So that's another example for the law of least effort to make it easy for yourself. And another example, you are more likely to track macros if your food scale is in the kitchen already out in plain view. In fact, research has shown that those who track their progress on their goals like losing weight, quitting smoking, etc., were all more likely to improve than those who don't. Another study also found that those who kept a daily food log lost twice as much weight as those who did not. If you want to learn more about tracking macros, check out my book on Amazon. It teaches you exactly step by step how to do that, how to lose weight without giving up your favorite foods. And so in conclusion, you guys, those are a few tips that I've learned from Atomic Habits to help you in your weight loss journey, help those little habits become actual game changers for your weight loss journey. So if you guys like this video, leave a like. Let me know if you have any questions or if you've read Atomic Habits, and I will see you guys in the next video.